0.
Hello and welcome to Cricfit here. This is Amay Petkar and today we are gonna preview the match between two Royals, Royal Challengers Bangalore and Rajasthan Royals. Two teams who have won two games and lost one game. So, it's going to be a great battle here, big contest. Looking forward to some big names here. You have Sanju Samson in the Rajasthan Royals side. You have Devdutt Padikkal in the Royal Challengers Bangalore side. We'll take a look at the toss first of all. So Rajasthan Royals have won the toss and they have elected to bat first here. Not a surprise here because this is an afternoon game. Remember, this weekend we're having two games in a day. So the heat is going to play a crucial role because batting first, again, playing in the afternoon, it's not easy. I have been in Dubai. I've stayed in the United Arab Emirates for close to 20 years, and I know what it's like to play in that heat. It's about 40 degrees, and batting in the afternoon, playing in the afternoon, it's not going to be easy for any of those sides because dew is something that would play a factor. But again, the temperature would cool down in the second innings. But there's also that factor that teams will look to bat first, get those runs on the board because dew will play a crucial factor in the second innings here. We'll take a look at the head-to-head record here first of all. Rajasthan Royals have won 10 games and RCB have won 8 games here. 3 matches have been washed out due to rain when the IPL was played in India in the previous editions here. So nothing that separates between two sides here. The record stands equal, but we'll also take a look at the changes coming in for both these sides here. Mahipal Lomror comes in for Ankit Rajput here. That's the one change we can make out from what we see at the toss here. Steve Smith has mentioned that one change coming in for Rajasthan Royals. We'll take a look at the playing 11 first of all. Rajasthan Royals, as I mentioned, have gone with one change. Ankit Rajput is sitting out, which means Mahipal Lomror comes in. Otherwise, it looks the same bowling attack, and the top order also looks the same what they played in the previous game here against KKR, against Kolkata Knight Riders. So Josh Butler, Steven Smith, Sanju Samson, top 3, all 3 look in good touch. There's this one concern about Robin Uthappa, should he open, should he not open? But then again, Robin Uthappa is an experienced player. Having him in this side, just as a player means a lot to the Rajasthan side because he has been part of the IPL since 2008, and that's something. He adds that value, he adds that experience, and will surely help out those youngsters in the side there. We'll also look at the Royal Challengers Bangalore's playing 11 here. We'll try to make out the changes, but I don't see any particular change coming in here. Devdutt Padikkal, Aaron Finch will open. Virat Kohli at 3, ABD at 4, Shivam Dube, Gurkeerat 5, 6, and then Washington Sundar at 7. If you look at this batting attack here, they bat deep, very deep here. Washington Sundar opens for his TPL franchise. Isuru Udana is a pinch hitter, can be used up the order as well if and when they require. And then look at that bowling attack here. You have got 2 leg spinners in the form of Yuzvendra Chahal and Adam Zampa. Two of the biggest leg spinners we could say in world cricket right now in the limited over circuit. They have been doing really well for India and Australia respectively. So we are looking forward to these 2 players here. Of course, the boundary at Abu Dhabi, one side is a bit longer. So, leg spinners bowling short, getting those batsmen to pull over mid wicket or towards square leg will be something these 2 leg spinners will try to do here. But other than this, there's no other change coming in. But as I mentioned about Virat Kohli here, there is something I need to talk about here. Very interesting stat which I found earlier today. Virat Kohli has hit only one boundary in this entire IPL. In this year's IPL, Virat Kohli has hit only one boundary, and that boundary also came in that super over against Mumbai Indians. Can you imagine a person like Virat Kohli, one of the best batsmen in world cricket right now, has hit only one boundary in those 3 games RCB have played till now, and he has struggled. He has struggled a lot with this, with the leg spinners. In the previous game, he struggled against Rahul Chahar, Ravi Bishnoi. All these leg spinners are troubling them. And when we talk about leg spinners, there are 2 leg spinners in the Rajasthan setup. Shreyas Gopal and Rahul Tewatia. We all know what Rahul Tewatia can do. He picked up 3 wickets in the first game against Chennai Super Kings, if I'm not wrong, and then he played that marvelous knock against Kings 11 Punjab at Sharjah. There's one more thing. We'll also talk about RCB here. RCB, as we know, there has been that problem with RCB that they don't really have those death over specialists. We have talked about Navdeep Saini, we have talked about Mohammad Siraj. There is someone like Umesh Yadav, but when we look at these bowlers are not typically those death over bowlers as we see. But if there's this one stat coming in the 8 overs combined, bowled against Punjab and Mumbai, RCB have conceded 163 runs at the economy of 20.4. Can you just imagine? They have not been played at Sharjah. Sharjah is a smaller ground, boundaries are shorter. Batsmen will look to take down the bowlers at Sharjah, but again, the RCB have not played at Sharjah. They have played at the 2 bigger grounds in this season, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And then look at that economy here, 20.4. It's a worry, it's a concern. But at the other hand, the RCB batsmen have been performing really well. Of course, your captain is not performing, Virat Kohli. But despite that, your team has been doing really well. But again, here they will have to address these conditions here, about this concern here, or rather concern here about the dead bowling here. You cannot be giving 163 runs over the course of 8 overs in 2 games here. It's a worry, and with you haven't played at Sharjah, it's a bigger problem for RCB when they play at Sharjah. Imagine that figure could just go up. Economy of 20 could go over 25, and with Rajasthan, I beg your pardon, with RCB playing 2 leg spinners in the form of Yuzvendra Chahal and Adam Zampa, the batsmen will look to take them down when they play at Sharjah. Of course, today's game is at Abu Dhabi, first of all. So, as I mentioned about the leg spinners, Yuzvendra Chahal has a successful record against Sanju Samson. He has dismissed him thrice so far at the cost of just 23 runs. Of course, Samson is not someone who struggles against the leg spinners, but again, Yuzvendra Chahal has the upper hand when someone like Samson is batting here. So we'll also have to look at this contest between Yuzvendra Chahal and Sanju Samson. How things go about in today's game here, given that Abu Dhabi is a bigger ground, and will Virat Kohli ball Yuzvendra Chahal in the power plays, or as soon as Sanju Samson comes on? This is something we will have to see. But when we talk about the average first inning score at Abu Dhabi, it's about in the range of 150 to 160. It's something which the teams have considered. Now Steve Smith would have looked at this target here of 160, 150, 160, which would look good on paper, first of all. But batting first in the afternoon heat is not something the players are going to cherish, first of all. So don't expect the score to go around 160. You could expect something in the range of 140, 150. But again, batting in the heat, high scoring affair is very unlikely today. So we'll have to see how things go about here. Before I move to further more questions or anything else, we'll take a look at today's players to watch out for. So the players to watch out for in today's game are the 2 youngsters, Devdutt Padikkal from RCB and Sanju Samson from Rajasthan Royals. 2 players who have looked in phenomenal touch this season. Devdutt Padikkal has played 3 games. He has scored 111 runs, and that which also includes 250s. And he has been striking at a decent strike rate. If you look at the strike rate here, it's a cumulative of those 3 games. But in the first game, he was striking at around 140. In the previous game as well, he was striking around at the same rate. He has been doing really well along with Aaron Finch. So that's something RCB have done well this season. They went ahead with Devdutt Padikkal as their opener instead of someone with so much experience as Parthu Patel, and he has delivered those goods here. On the other hand, you have Sanju Samson. I read about this article. I read this article about Shane Warne talking about how Sanju Samson should be playing in all three formats for India, but unfortunately, he's not being in that scheme of things for India so far. Just look at his IPL record here: 3 matches, 167 runs, average over 50, and then look at that strike rate here. It's something we should be talking about. Sanju Samson batting at 3, striking at around 201. That's something phenomenal. He has done really well, and I think he's just knocking the doors of the selectors here, that I'm here and I'm performing, and you have to pick me no matter what happens now. Because if a batsman of such caliber of Sanju Samson is scoring so much runs, the selectors have to make sure that they look into this person here, because he's doing something really good. He's doing something really well here for the Rajasthan Royals. He's single-handedly tearing down the opposition bowlers here. Even in the game against Chennai Super Kings, he took on the experienced Piyush Chawla and Ravindra Jadeja. Took them down. Didn't care if they carry any sort of reputation. But then Sanju Samson is Sanju Samson, and he's doing a marvelous job here. We'll look into the trump cards as well for today's game here. Yeah, so the trump cards for today's game, of course, Yuzvendra Chahal, the leg spinner from RCB, 3 matches, 5 wickets. Didn't really look in the best of best touches in the first 2 games, but then he in the first game he looked in really good touch, but then he had a bad game, but then he has come out strong. Again, Yuzvendra Chahal, as I mentioned, the Abu Dhabi ground, the boundary on the leg side is a bit longer, so Yuzvendra Chahal will try to ball those short balls in, will look to get the batsman to pull over mid wicket, and just try and get those wickets out there. On the other hand, you have Steve Smith, again, the number 1 test batsman of the world, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure about the rankings, how far they have changed, but 3 matches, 122 runs and 250s. He has been playing a different role this season. We are not looking at Steve Smith, who bats at number 3. He is opening the innings along with Josh Butler. So it's a good change coming in for the Rajasthan side here. Of course, a lot of questions would have been raised when they went ahead with Steve Smith instead of experienced Robin Uthappa. Again, I've talked about Robin Uthappa in the previous shows, how in the 2014 season he was asked to open and ended up winning the orange cap. So, if you look at Robin Uthappa, experienced batsman, batting down the order, and someone who is not typically an opening batsman is batting up the order in the form of Steve Smith, but he has been doing really well, and that's something, a good decision, I would say. Asking Steve Smith to open here, and then his stats are proving that that gamble of Steve Smith opening along with Josh Butler is working out here. We'll also move towards the game changers for today's game here. The game changers for today's game, obviously, AB de Villiers has to be there. You just cannot talk about someone else other than AB de Villiers as your game changer, because he's one person who can turn the match around in no time. He's a really good, he's one of the best middle order batsmen you would find in the international circuit right now. Even though he has retired, he would walk into that South African cricket team on any given day. His stats have been phenomenal this season. 3 matches, 134 runs. And if you look at AB de Villiers, the 2 wins RCB have had this season, much of the credit should go to AB de Villiers, because the skipper Virat Kohli has looked out of touch this season. Despite Kohli not scoring, it is AB de Villiers who has taken the onus on him and said that no, if Virat is not doing, I'll do the job. And his stats just prove the things here. 3 matches, 134 runs at a strike rate of 186. Just remember that super over against Mumbai Indians. Jasprit Bumrah bowling short to AB de Villiers. He pulls that ball and then gets that ball to the boundary. If had AB de Villiers not been there, that could have been something else. The result could have gone the other way the other day. But then we'll also move towards Rahul Tewatia here. Rahul Tewatia, someone who changed his faith in about 1 hour's time the other day, from being a villain to being a superhero in no time. He has done something incredible against Kings 11 Punjab. The match was at Sharjah, hitting those 5 sixes of Sheldon Cottrell. Remember, people go on talking that okay, he hit those 5 sixes to Sheldon Cottrell, but then again, Sheldon Cottrell is the opening bowler for West Indies in the limited overs circuit. So he hit those sixes to a valuable and a reputed bowler in the international circuit. Remember, Sheldon Cottrell has done well for the West Indies, opening the bowling. How can we not forget the celebration Sheldon does? But coming back to Rahul Tewatia, in the first game against Chennai Super Kings, bowling his leg breaks, he picked up about 3 wickets, 3 crucial wickets. There was this talk going around about Rahul Tewatia, how people are getting annoyed with his celebration. But then, in the end, in the very next game against Kings 11 Punjab, Rahul Tewatia won hearts. He became, a superstar overnight. There's just so much to talk about this person. Having played for Rajasthan previously, then he went on to play for Delhi Capitals, then he played for Kings 11 Punjab. He has come a long way. Wasn't valued that much in the other franchises, hardly got to play many games, but then Rahul Tewatia has done something brilliant this season. Obviously, in the previous game against Kolkata Knight Riders, Rahul Tewatia could not get off the mark. He was dismissed very early. But again, if a player like Rahul Tewatia can hit an international bowler for 5 sixes in 1 over, you should watch out for this man, because we might just expect few more bigger things coming from this man here. Just look at his stats. 3 matches, 77 runs. The bulk of those runs coming against Kings 11 Punjab the other day, and that 150, striking at around 157. In that match against Kings 11 Punjab, he had scored about just 17 runs in those first 23 deliveries he faced, and then after those 23 deliveries, he faced about 6 deliveries and ended up scoring close to 30 or 31 runs. So a player like Rahul Tewatia can shift the game from nothing actually. So we should watch out for Rahul Tewatia as well. We'll take a look at few questions here. First of all, Vishnu has a question here. The boundary was also given up. It was easy to stop by the fielder. I'm not really sure which match or which game he's talking about here. Vishnu, could you please just let us know what match you're talking about here so we could get back to you? Prashant Gautam, obviously my partner, not available today, but he's come up with a question here. Which Rajasthan Royals bowler is the biggest threat for RCB batting, Gopal or Archer? It really depends, because if you look at Shreyas Gopal, leg spinner to someone like Virat Kohli is struggling this season against the spinners here. So you will have to see how Steve Smith uses Gopal when someone like Virat Kohli is batting. But at the other hand, you have someone like Jofra Archer as well. You could use him against someone like Aaron Finch, who normally struggles to get across the stumps. In the past, we have seen how Bhuvneshwar Kumar has got Aaron Finch out. He gets trapped onto his feet. Very less movement of the feet. So both, I would say, I would not pick one here. Gopal and Archer both will be a threat to the RCB batting here, especially Gopal bowling, the leg spinner bowling to Virat Kohli here. So so Vishnu, so Virat Kohli super over boundary. So he is talking about this. Yes. So he's talking about that last ball 4 Virat Kohli hit, which the fielder gave up. Obviously, it's something we don't see very often. It's something very unusual that Virat Kohli is not in his greatest of touches. But again, Virat Kohli is Virat Kohli. He's one of the best batsmen in world cricket. His stats, do all the talking here, because he's someone who has shown us that what he's capable of, and we should never write off someone like Virat Kohli. And I do expect him to come out strong this season here. So if we look at few more stats here, if I could pull out Virat Kohli's only boundary in this IPL has become a stat. In the 2014 season, Yuzvendra Chahal considered conceded a boundary after 4 games. That was also an interesting stat, given that RCB played the first 1 or 2 games at Sharjah at a shorter boundary. Yuzvendra Chahal was a star back then in 2014, and on the basis of that performance in the 2014 season, he went on to play for India. So, the IPL has laid a platform for many players like Yuzvendra Chahal, Kuldeep Yadav in the past, and they have been doing really well. We'll we'll take a look at the fantasy picks for today's game here, who you should have in your squad and who you should not. So the captain and vice captain, your captain, you could go with either with AB de Villiers or Steve Smith. Both likely to score runs today. On the other hand, the vice captain selection can be a toss up between Josh Butler and Devdutt Particle. Josh Butler hasn't really fired much, but then again, Josh Butler is Josh Butler, just like Virat Kohli is Virat Kohli. You will expect him to fire at some stage. It's not that Josh Butler will have 3 or 4 bad games on a trot here. So Josh Butler or Devdutt Particle. Devdutt Particle has been doing well for the RCB side. 2 matches, 250s, has done really well. Well, with the batsmen, you can have the combination of De Villiers, Steve Smith, Josh Butler, Devdutt Particle, and do not forget to include Virat Kohli, because never count this guy off. He will pay those dividends. He will come out strong, and I'm pretty sure that Virat Kohli will come out strong in this match here against Rajasthan. In the all-rounders, you can have someone like Shivam Dube and Rahul Tewatia. Again, Shivam Dube is doing well. He's batting at 5 and 6, lower down the order, and has also been bowling in the death. In the first game, I remember he bowled 2 overs and picked up a couple of wickets as well. So Shivam Dube has been doing really well. We should never forget that one spell he had against Bangladesh, which won us the T20 against Bangladesh last year in 19 November. So Shivam Dube, Rahul Tewatia, again I've spoken about him. You should not write this player off here. He is a good player. So, he has put up those performances this season. So do not write off Rahul Tewatia as well, even though he had a bad game last game against Kolkata Knight Riders. But Rahul Tewatia has shown us this season that what he is actually capable of. In the bowling department, you can have the 2 leg spinners, Yuzvendra Chahal and Adam Zampa. You could also squeeze in someone like Shreyas Gopalan, because we can just expect Shreyas Gopal to pick up a lot of wickets today. And the bowling department, again, you have Jofra Archer. Navdeep Saini has looked in great touch this season. He bowled the super over the other day against Mumbai Indians, considered just 7 runs, was just phenomenal the other day. And then you will always have the $1 million man, Jaydev Unadkat. I remember reading about Jaydev Unadkat that, the RCB, not the RCB, the Rajasthan Royals team management are not looking at Jaydev, even if, the thing is that they want Jaydev to perform. That's the first and foremost thing. But they're not really concerned if he, fails to pick up wickets. The matter of the fact is Jaydev Unadkat is more likely to bowl in the death. And the the RR management are looking at, how less runs Jaydev concedes. So that's a good thing, first of all, otherwise the pressure of money can always mount on you. But since the RR management are backing Jaydev, despite not picking wickets, it's a good thing from the management here. We'll talk about this man here, the one-man army, but again ended up in a losing cause the other night against Kolkata Knight Riders. He took the onus on him. He said that, okay, all the batsmen are gone, now I'll let my bat do the talking, and he scored an unbeaten 54 of 36 deliveries the other day against the Kolkata Knight Riders at Dubai. So again, Tom Curran has been doing really well. His brother Sam Curran has been doing really well. It's all about the brothers in the IPL. In the past, we have seen the Pathan brothers, and now you have the Curran brothers here. Sam Curran, last night almost won the game for Chennai Super Kings, and now there is this man here, Tom Curran, as well, doing all the good talking with his bat. Not to mention his bowling as well. He as a bowler also, he has been doing really well in this season. So Tom Curran, again, I believe that you could just use him as a pinch hitter at 4 or 5, just like how you did, with Rahul Tewatia. So he is one man you could always look to play here. We'll take a look at few more questions here. Yeah. Virat Kohli has hit only one boundary, that too in super over. Seems like, oh, okay, we'll not comment here much because these things go really wrong. So South will not comment on this here. So yeah, so South has another question here. Robin Uttapa opening with Butler. Smith should come one down. I spoke about this earlier. Robin Uttapa is not a middle order batsman. He should open the innings. And someone like Robin Uttapa adds so much experience to the Rajasthan setup here. He should be opening with Smith coming one down. Again, the other day I felt that with Smith opening the innings with Josh Butler and then Sanju Samson at number 3, it just weakens the middle order a bit because you're not even playing David Miller. So some way or somewhat you see that the middle order gets a bit weak because we have not seen Riyan Parag shine this season so far. So we are not really sure if he's in the best of best next. So even I would have loved to see someone like Robin Uttapa open alongside Josh Butler, and you also ended up dropping someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal. Just played one game, very unfortunate not to play in the remaining 2 games. But again, addressing this question here, Robin Uttapa should open. I completely agree with you. Smith should come one down, but again, Smith has been performing really well. So we cannot really question this decision here because in the end, it is paying off those dividends for Rajasthan's side here. Okay, so the match is starting here. The openers are walking out. It's Steve Smith and it's Steve Smith who is walking out, and it's not Robin Uttapa. It's Josh Butler and Steve Smith who walk out. So guys, we will wrap up today's session here. I really hope you enjoyed this session here with all those interesting stats coming in about all those players here. So thank you so much, guys. Do visit our website www.cricfit.com. We post everything about cricket there. You will find all the latest news, updates, videos, photos, everything. And also, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where we go live. And also like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and also follow us on LinkedIn as well, as we are there on all these platforms. Thank you so much for watching Dial C for Cricfit. I really hope you enjoyed today's session. And so we'll now go ahead and watch the match. So this is Amay Petkar signing off.